Okay, everybody, and I am here with,
Amanda.
and you're currently living in Vietnam.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
A little over a year.
And where were you born originally?
Southern California, Orange County.
And you've been in the States for how long?
All my life, so pretty much since for 34 years.
So 34 years you were in the States.
33 years.
33 years.
33 years.
So it's just recently that you moved here. So can you tell us a little about your life back home in America?
Yeah, my life in California was really good. I was really happy in California. I had a happy childhood. I grew up around a lot of other like Vietnamese people, Chinese people, Mexicans, white people. So I had like a diverse array of people around me that all seemed really nice. I felt like I was always accepted. I felt like I belonged. I was really close to my brother, so that's also really a big part of my upbringing was like my nerdy upbringing. So I was in the cosplay anime community. I was close to my relatives. I kind of just like found my people, found my things, and I had a job that gave me a lifestyle, a really good work-life
Can you
balance.
tell us what you were doing?
I actually went to school for graphic design, but I ended up going into tech. The implementation consultant, so I helped our clients like use the software that my company made. And it was straightforward and easy enough that it was enough to like give me a lifestyle where I could do my job and I didn't need to take anything home. So I worked and then I had my life outside of work.
Can you tell us how much you were making?
Maybe just under 60,000, maybe like 55,000.
And you say that's a comfortable lifestyle in southern SoCal.
I had my needs met, so I was happy with what I had. It wasn't a lot, but it wasn't like it wasn't struggling or anything. I had my own studio apartment. I was able to live by myself and support myself, and yeah, I was happy.
So it seemed like you had like a pretty comfortable, happy life. So from my other interviews, people come here for like a new reset, a new start. So before we get into that question, let's say, how was your identity? Like, who did you like, were you Vietnamese? Tell us more about your background.
Yeah, I'm Vietnamese Chinese American.
Like split 50-50, like your mom.
Pretty much. So my dad is ethnically Chinese, but he was born in Vietnam, so he's like Chinese Vietnamese. My mom's all Vietnamese, and so my upbringing was like a blend, but it was also like all Vietnamese spoken like household. But my dad would speak to me in Cantonese, my mom would speak to me in Vietnamese. They speak Vietnamese to each other, and then I kind of lost my Vietnamese and Cantonese growing up. I only know like really baby amounts, like the super basic stuff. But like, I felt really comfortable being like this, like pan-Asian American thing. I knew I was like Vietnamese and Chinese, but I spoke English. I went to Chinese school. Like my Vietnamese was like not amazing, but I knew that I was like Asian. Like I made only Asian friends.
So how was
Yeah.
your thoughts about like Vietnamese culture?
I never really thought about it. I just kind of knew that I was like Vietnamese Chinese. Like that was just like my home life. And I did feel like that was me. Like I felt Asian, like compared to like white people. Like I didn't even have a concept of being Asian American until like more recently as an adult, like adult. I speak Vietnamese at home, or like my parents speak to me in Vietnamese, and I know that I have like culturally different things than like straight white people. And I felt like I didn't really question my Asianness. Like I just knew that I'm this type of person that felt Asian, but like not too Asian. So I guess I felt really just comfortable being like this third culture type of thing.
So it sounds like you found your community, like you knew your worth and your identity. So can we jump to the part where it's like, why are you here in Vietnam in a complete, you plopped yourself out of America and then plopped yourself here. So why Vietnam?
I mean, the biggest reason is because of my husband. I met him in 2020. We met pretty much right at the beginning of the pandemic, so we quarantined together. We like fast tracked our relationship. Like things were like really, really great. And we kind of got married really fast, and then he hatched this plan to travel the world for like a year together. He wanted to take me on this like amazing adventure, show me the world, and
You agreed?
another part of my identity is that I'm very down. Like I couldn't not say no because I had to be down. So
But
it's
how
like
long did you guys know each other? And he's like, babe, let's travel the world. And he's like, hell
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Basically, that was exactly how the conversation went. Like because of like the new relationship energy, like we were so like we really were on the same page. We were really like did feel like we had like the same like frequency and seriousness about like our commitment for each other in this like relationship that was like newly forming. It felt like really right. Like he felt like the right person for me, and I felt like the right person for him. So like when he was like coming up with this idea that was really different for me, like kind of left field for me, I just felt like, oh, that would be like a really amazing adventure. Like, sure, why not? Because I wanted to be with him. I wasn't necessarily 100 about the travel for a year. That was kind of not 100% for me, but we went for it. I went for it, and it was challenging to say the least. Yeah, I find myself here. Like it just kind of like happened. Like it was like one decision after another. Like Chris really wanted to do this traveling, and like to do that, we like the thing was to like quit our jobs and to travel a year, like to just like enjoy like this like huge adventure. And
But you had to give up the life that you grew accustomed to, your
what
belonging. So
I
what made you just like, I'm just gonna give up that?
that was
Because usually when people give up something, it comes from a place where it's like, I'm not happy, so I need a change. But this is like
yeah.
the opposite.
Yeah, I I really just put it on hold. I never expected to not go back. The plan was the original plan was to always go back to California. It was like travel a year and then go back to California. And then like business as usual. Like that was what I expected. And what ended up happening was really, really intense, like half year of travel, which was like almost like 14, 15 countries in half a year. And then we had like a 4 month stint in Vietnam just to like have a home base. We were like making our way around the planet. So Vietnam was a home base for 4 months just to like cool off from all the travel. And in that time, it made sense to start making more money again. So Chris started working in Vietnam as an English teacher because that's kind of just what he's really familiar with and has done in Vietnam before. And then opportunity just like knocked on his door. It just seemed like it would be a bad idea to go back to California, considering he has like all these like business opportunities to do here, and like lifestyle is just like so much more practical here compared to California, where things are like going to be like so much more expensive. That was basically my reason to not go back, was because I didn't want to be the person to hold him back from the opportunities that looked like our life was like I was seeing it as an opportunity for us, but at the same time I wasn't really just thinking about what I wanted.
Yeah.
I kept on kind of thinking that like, okay, I don't want to hold you back, but I don't really know if I want to be here, but I don't want to hold you back. And
Wait.
I'm invested in being in the relationship still, so it ended up just being because he wants to be here.
As you're saying, hold him back. What's like what is that? What's you want?
Well, hold him back from being in Vietnam. Like, if I was the one that wanted to go back, then that would mean that he would have to go back with me, I guess. As a married couple, like, it doesn't make sense for us to be married and live in different countries. So I didn't want to force him to go back to California because I was the only one who wanted to go back to California. So I was like, I guess I'll be the one to stay in Vietnam with you.
But it sounds like you are compromising in a relationship, which is really good. But at the same time, for your own needs and aspirations?
Yeah, it was hard to really even figure out what I really wanted. I think I had a long period of kind of convincing myself that I could be happy anywhere. That was really like also a big part of like this persona identity that I created for myself when I was like really happy and fulfilled in California. I felt I had like a lot of resourcefulness. Like I had this like knowledge or skill to like create my own happiness. I knew how to do that in California. So why not? Why can't I do it here in Vietnam? And turns out there's a lot of things in that were specific to the location that aren't in this new location that has made it more challenging and feels like less like home.
So, like, what were some of the toughest transitions, like living in Vietnam for you?
The toughest transitions, I guess it would just be, damn, it feels like all of it. Like being in a place where you just feel like you're not connected to it. Like, I think the biggest thing is language. Like, not feeling like I could go out and just like talk to people. Like, the talking to people is kind of a barrier, like a huge barrier to feeling like you are like you even like understand the location, you understand the people, that you have the ability to connect to the people if you like actually wanted to, if I wanted to. And then not to mention like the fact that I think there's like a part of me that feels a little bit of like I don't like, why am I even here? Like I had everything back home, like, and now I'm here, like now I have to change, now I have to like grow as a person. Like I didn't need to before, but now I need to here. So I think there's like a small part of me that is like kind of coming to terms with that. Time to, I guess, like allow myself to like feel like this is not ideal, but if I want to, like, if I want to feel happier, like I do have to change. I do have to make make these calls for myself. Like, there's ultimately I don't have to stay, but if I do want to stay, then there are things that I should like take the initiative to like make it feel more like make myself feel I have like my people and like things that make me feel like more comfortable here.
How is your Vietnamese, and have you tried to learn more so you can like adapt to the culture and surroundings?
My choice to adapt Vietnamese is really like also like strained. I think a big part of it is like my mom really wants me to learn Vietnamese, and she kind of has been wanting that for a while, but even more now that I live here. And I don't deny that. That is absolutely 100% true. But it's like I think I have like that like rebellious kid in me. Like the more someone tells me that I need to do it, like it just makes me like I don't want to do it. Like, of course, it would make my experience like that much better. Like if I could just talk to people more comfortably. But that's like that needs to be like my internal like desire, like from 100% from me, not because oh it's because my mom wants me to do it or like because everyone else around me is doing it. I kind of have that.
Like seeing yourself like resentment, and there's a little bit like I could always go back, but like ultimately, how are you? I don't want to use the word cope, but like how are you finding yourself here?
I'm trying to make more friends and I'm trying to find my independence again. And again, that's like hard to do because things are just like really different. It does feel like I'm trying to start from zero, and like I felt like I would be always able to rely on my skills to like I could just get a job again. I could just go online, search for a job, get a job. But apparently getting a tech job right now is very hard. And yeah, so I happen to still be depending on Chris for like work and stuff. So it's not like I know that I have so much to be grateful for, and I have like a husband that loves me, and I have like an amazing apartment, and like life is like it's not even mostly good. It's like it really is good. It's just like my internal like sense of belonging and identity that has really been shaken living here and being taken away from like what was like my home, and I am doing a lot of like processing of like finding out how to be more at home or be home again in myself in this new place.
So speaking of your husband, which since moving here he has grown his brand, you're also helping him out. But do you ever feel like as he's growing and he's always been more connected to the roots, it seems you're like more like the opposite. Do you ever feel like you're almost shadowed by his like growing and he's constantly getting bigger and bigger and growing and you're still like I don't want to be here. So almost does it feel like y'all are like
Yeah, no, that's a good observation. Like, I actually did feel a lot of like weird, like feelings like that, feelings of like inferiority. Like, I am not as like capable as I used to be. Like, no, not only inferior to my husband and his like growing success here and his social media presence. Like, I've never been with a partner that was so active on social media. Like, I was the one that was like very active on social media. And like, I did all my like self-expression through my social media. And like getting into this relationship with him and then like traveling with him and him becoming more and more active and now having an online business, like it's making me feel like this
pulling out
weird
that
thing.
insecurity.
Yeah, it was making me feel like not only insecure, but like, oh, he's doing all these things that I'm doing. Like, I don't want to be like copying him. Like, I don't want to like share like the same stories on social media. Like, I was having these like weird thoughts when they don't need to hold me back from my own like social media life, like my own life online. But it was really like weird experiencing that, and I still feel like I haven't like uncoupled that. Like that's like still like sticky and feels like because he's so active on social media, and now that's making me feel like I don't want to be on social media or like that kind of weird thing.
Because I purposely did not want to introduce you as Chris's wife,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Chris Tran Travels.
I think we are like these two entities right now that we're like having our two separate lives while being married at the same time.
Because from my outside observer, it's like you love him a lot to be able to like put your needs, everything to the side and be like, I'm gonna be here next to you to see you help you build. And it's like, when do you want to build what you want to build?
Yeah, that is something that was like is like I'm still trying to figure out like my concept of like marriage and partnership and like a relationship and like also like sense of self and like identity and like having like this whole person. You're a whole person before you get into like a relationship. When you get into a relationship, you're still like, your individual self. You should still have your separate lives. Like that was like our both of our values because I held on to that so much. And I think that was also like a huge value of Chris's. Like we started traveling and like we like needed to be like close. Like we were like literally trained for hours always together. Like that made me feel like I needed my own space. Like I needed to like kind of pull back because it was like too much for me. Journey of like figuring out how to like make myself happy again. Like I kind of turned inward trying to like, okay, I need to make myself happy. I need my independence. I need to like figure out how to make my like do those things that I used to do. Like I kept on like trying to remember like what my life was like before and like thinking like why don't I do those same things or why doesn't it feel the same way when I think what I was really missing is like, you know, friendship, community, like support, like real like emotional connections.
Your day to day, what do you find like frustrating?
Well, my day to day is actually really comfortable. I actually live with so much privilege, and I think luxury is like not not an exaggeration. I live like, well, the thing is we also have a lot of debt that we're like really just like the plan is just to like accrue income, like create products to like build income.
Can we ask what's the debt on?
We took out loans, we traveled a lot. We only like saved just enough for like a part of the travel, and we didn't budget. Like these were really just like
Spontaneous.
yeah.
So overall, your Vietnam experience is quite the opposite. So how do you like? It sounds like you're still trying to figure it out in terms of Vietnam. So what is next for Amanda in terms of you've been here for a year and you have signed this place for
I think 2 years.
2 years. So what is the next year looking like for you? Like what are you currently doing in Vietnam for that first year, and what do you plan on doing?
Yeah, so right now I am working with Chris, helping him with his operations. He's about to launch a digital course, a language learning course for Vietnamese, and I'm helping him with the video editing, and that has been keeping me busy. But as far as like my personal, like what I really, really want, I had the desire to be a life coach, like a life coach with my own online business. Like that was the thing that made me want to quit my job originally and do the travel, but I thought it was mainly for like me to focus on my own business and like my desire to like help people with coaching. But being an entrepreneur and starting your own business was like one of the hardest, like most like loneliest things. Like I never knew, like I never had those type of skills, and like trying to do it by myself, like I was never really able to figure that out.
In tandem with as Chris was doing this, or did you had these plans before you met Chris?
I had these plans before Chris, and so I was kind of figuring that out for a long time and like not really knowing what I was missing. And I think what it really is like the right support and community to like really help me. Like, and maybe it's not even that. Maybe that was also like an idea. There's like other things like around that. Like I might have like sold myself this like dream of being an entrepreneur also. That is like another like it's just like a different side of like the American dream. Like, you know, like you could make your own hours, you're your own boss, you could like make as much like unlimited like money as you want. Like I think I sold myself on that dream, and it's actually really hard. And yeah, that I feel like there's still something there. I feel like I have a lot in me that I could give, and I think what I've been holding back on a lot recently also is just my own self-expression and like telling my own story. I used to do that a lot on my social media, and then my relationship with social media got really weird. But that is, I think, kind of on the forefront of my mind. Like I do think that's like one of the biggest things that I want to like get back into is just expressing myself again.
So is Chris the only reason?
Biggest reason, basically. Yeah, I gotta say, it's like, yeah, I'm married to him. He's my husband. I love him, and I love being with him. And then this was his like dream. Like he's living his best life out here, and he's happy having me here. And yeah, I'm kind of just like I'm here basically because of him. Like I'm needing to like figure out my life because I made this decision essentially for somebody else. Essentially, this way of being is something that I worked really hard on like stopping. Like I kind of learned that I needed to stop doing that like before getting with Chris, and then I found myself doing these same behaviors again.
From the 1.5 years you've been here, like how have you reflected on yourself? Like how have you grown, and what have you like realized?
I feel like I had to do a lot of grieving. I felt really sad and disappointed, I have to say, because of like that constant like comparing like what my life was like to what it is now, and that feeling of like I didn't 100% make this choice to be here, and like taken away from like that original plan. Like I feel like there's that part of me that's still like kind of upset about that. And it was like this like constant like trying to convince myself that like I'm I could do this. Like things are pretty good. Like I could figure it out, and things I have like this amazing life on paper, and I should be happy, and all these experiences should have
Like,
been.
forget the paper. Like, what is it you like?
Yeah, like those are the thoughts that I was like that were making it so like hard and like conflicting and confusing and painful for me. And that was like a regular existential crisis like happening like almost every quarter for me. And I am like constantly also just thinking of like I need to choose what like I need to make the decisions that are going to like really make me happy. Like what the things that I really want, I need to really go for those things and stop being like afraid of like making it about like my partner, or like this is what like people expect of me, or like what my partner expects of me, or like this is what my partner is going to like be happy with. Like I need to choose myself regardless of what happens after, like going back to like not letting those other concerns like be the priority over like my own needs, and like knowing myself and knowing what I want, and going back to like making myself happy, like expressing myself despite like what all the mistakes and like weird decisions that I've already done.
Like,
And
this is
like
actually like a beautiful moment for Amanda to be like, I can be whoever the hell I want to
yeah,
be.
yeah,
Instead of
exactly.
looking at it at like a oh no resentment, it's like this is
Hmm.
I can be who the F, especially having a partner like Chris.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's so many things that I can do. Like it's like up to me now to like choose to move forward and to take these opportunities, like to see the new doors that are open instead of the ones that closed behind me that I didn't want to close.